Hey everyone, how's it going? Um, Today is going to be a push day. I was off yesterday. I think yesterday was Friday. I had school all day yesterday, all morning, and all midday to afternoon. Um, so no workout yesterday, unless I wanted to work out when it was dark, but that's okay. Like I was saying in that last video. Um, Sometimes, whether you feel like you need it or not, it's good to, to have an extra day off, just to give your body time to recover, give you time to think about things. And I didn't check the temperature. I want to say, yeah, I did check the temperature this morning. It was like 15 degrees Fahrenheit. So that, subtract 32 degrees, so we're at about negative 17. Divide by 1.8. We're somewhere around -8 or so degrees Celsius here in eastern Kentucky. The wind chill is ridiculous. But despite how cold it was, I was bundled up appropriately, and as I showed there at the beginning, I had quite a few layers on. I even brought the gloves out today, so that should tell you how cold it was. Because I'm kind of opposed to the use of gloves for working out. At least working out and doing calisthenics. But as you'll see in some of these clips, the gloves do have to come off at some points during today's montage. Just so I can have a good grip on the bars, and so I can not slip and hurt myself. Despite how it looked today, it actually wasn't that bad, other than the cold. It's not like it was raining, it wasn't snowing. All the snow that you see in these clips are from prior times, and it's just been so cold that it hasn't melted. But it was very dry. Which was the main thing. The bars were clean, it was dry, and if you can layer up and stay warm, it's not so bad. Here I'm doing a little bit of shadow boxing. This is, well, I was doing a little bit of shadow boxing, but it's a bit too slick. I didn't want to fall and bust my butt. But prior to my knee surgery, I used to do I would stretch out and warm up. I would do shadow boxing for 3 minutes, and then I would go to the 6-rep warm up. And I'm kind of trying to slowly ease myself back into that. Now that my knee is, it's still got quite a bit of recovery to go, but things are going good. And the main thing they said to me at the orthopedic surgeon, the main thing they said to me at my last follow-up was to just take it slow and just try to ease slowly back into things, to not be in a hurry. And they said, I could probably do, everything that I used to do, just, proceed with caution and go very, very slowly back into it. And, that kind of segues into what I wanted to talk about today. And I've touched on this in the past few videos. But that's, don't be in a hurry with your training. It doesn't matter, where you're at in life. If you're obese, if you're underweight, if you're an average guy or girl, if you've worked out before and you want to try calisthenics, or if you've never worked out before and you just want to do free weights, or any combination of those things. If you've never worked out before and you don't want to work out and you're just watching this video because you think it's cool, I appreciate that, and I can respect that. To each their own. We all have different things that we enjoy in life, but the point I was going to make was, is to take things slowly. We're not in a hurry. no matter how bad we want something, you can't rush it, because when you rush it, that's when the quality of your work goes down, and that's when you're more likely to make mistakes and possibly get injured. And that those things will only further delay your progress. Um, we have our whole lives, God willing, or whatever deity that you believe in. We have our whole lives to get to where we might want to be one day. We have our whole lives ahead of us to work on things that we like, and just take it slow and do a little bit at a time. I've worked out for, like I've said a lot, probably close to 15 years, and looking back on that, I think the biggest mistake in my training was trying to rush things. And there were times, when I used to work out 2 and 3 hours per session, and daggone, I felt good on my planche attempts today. But that's what I'm saying, like, don't have the mindset that you have to rush things and you have to, work out very, very much. Like, you don't have to work out a lot. You don't have to have a huge workout volume to progress and get stronger. This past month of my training, I feel like has really shown that, at least to myself, in my own experience. I've been, continuously turning down the workout volume and turning up the workout quality, and I feel like, every time I work out, I feel like I learn a little bit more about myself, and I learn a little bit more about how to train efficiently. And I say that humbly, or humbly, I don't know how to pronounce that properly, but I try to be humble when I say that, because we all make mistakes, and we may think that we're doing something correctly, like I was for all those years prior. But sometimes we're blind to things, and sometimes we do things for so long that we think we know exactly how to do it. So we're kind of resistant to to other ideas, or other critiques or things that may improve what we're doing. And it's important to stay humble, have an open mind. It doesn't matter if you've been working out your whole life, or it doesn't have to be working out. If you've been doing anything for any extended period of time, always have an open mind, and always be open to considering alternate things to to what you normally feel. This past month of my training, I have really focused, like I was saying, on turning down the volume. Well, over last summer, I started with the 2-set method, and that was the first step in decreasing the volume. And since then, this past month, I've really focused on rep quality and rep quantity, just like here in this clip. I'm just using this band, and I'm really focusing on maintaining good posture, really getting a good contraction and holding the position. Don't let the resistance control you, and in turn, you should be the one controlling the resistance. Is a way to think about it. I've just really been taking things slow and focusing on rep quality, decreasing the overall volume of my workouts. When it comes to skill practice, if it's something I'm proficient in, like I said in that last video, I give it one attempt just to keep the sword nice and sharp and polished, and and then I put it away for the day, and I don't mess with it again until the next session. Or the next appropriate session, whether it's the respective strength training day or skill day. But we don't have to do a lot. We don't have to have a huge workout volume in order to get stronger. It's important to look at the overall, like the big idea. Like, don't spend too much time focused on one particular thing. Like, think about the big idea. Like, if you want to be fit, like, don't just think about your workout. Like, think about your diet. That's something I did this morning. Is I spent a good bit of time working on my diet. But I might talk about that in a different video. But what I'm saying is, don't just think about your workout. Think about your diet. Think about your flexibility. Think about your overall well-being, and take things slow and adjust things just a little bit at a time. That makes it easier to critique or to keep track of how changing that variable influenced your overall well-being. But I felt so much stronger today. Like those planche attempts earlier, I feel like my planche has greatly improved over this past month. My shoulder feels so much better, because I've taken it easy on what was bothering it mostly, was the one-arm pull-up. And tomorrow should be pull day. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it, but we'll have that same mindset. We'll be taking it slow, being careful, focusing on quality of things, not being in a hurry, and just overall trying to do a good job. So try again to stay humble, because it's very likely that I may mess something up or I may do something wrong. And it's partially, what's great about these videos is it really allows me to keep track of what I'm doing, and I can critique myself better, and I can really see my progress. I'm telling my wife bye there. She's going to the grocery store. But I didn't let that distract me from my sets. I think these lateral raises are also on 2x speed. I was doing these with the green band, but as I showed in my last video, the green band has unfortunately split on me. I've had these bands for a few years. I've already ordered more bands, but the cold weather is pretty hard on the bands. They're a soft rubber, and when they get cold, they want to break. So these new bands I'll probably keep inside and reserve them just for the inside calisthenics gym when I get that finished. These bands I've had for a few years. I'm gonna keep my fingers crossed that they, the ones that remain, the ones that remain still will hold out for me until I get the inside setup finished. But what I was saying is these clips are actually on 2x speed, even though it's kind of hard to see because where this is a lower band than what I was used to doing, I decided to take it extra slow, time under tension. That's what makes us stronger. Is we don't have to have extreme resistance, and we don't have to do incredible feats of strength. Doing incredible feats of strength is our goal, but in our training to get there, we don't have to do incredible feats of strength. Just have adequate resistance, or appropriate level resistance, appropriate level difficulty, and be in control of that resistance. Don't let that resistance be in control of you. The better you get at something, like say you can do a weighted pull-up with 120 pounds. I've been able to do that before, and I'm sure if I wanted to grab the weights, I could probably still do that. But you don't have to put your body under those extreme circumstances in order to progress. Like I've been doing, I've had a 40-pound weight vest, for more reps, more time under tension, and then even further here, the past couple weeks, I have went down to the resistance band. which is, they write on those that they're like 30 to 80 pounds or something, depending on how much you pull it and stretch it. But I don't know how much it actually is, but it's constant. It's a consistent pressure, and I feel like it's easier on the joints. But I've switched to those, and instead of trying to do such extreme resistance, I have went more towards the side of quality instead of this the shock and awe of something more difficult. I've increased my rep quality. I've been in more control, and I feel like that in the long term of things will lead to more strength. It's one thing to do a pull-up, but to be able to do the pull-up, like I said, with a smile on your face, that's the thing. But I think we're at the end of the video. Let me guys know if you have any questions or comments. Happy training, stay warm, and stay strong. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.